Shalom and good morning. Today we are reading 2 Samuel chapter 21. And there was scarcity of food in the days of Dod for 3 years, year after year. And Dod sought the face of Yahu'ah, and Yahu'ah answered, because Shaul in his bloodthirsty house, because he killed the Gibeonites. The sovereign therefore called the Gibeonites and spoke to them. Now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Yashrael, but of the remnant of the Amorites. And the children of Yashrael had sworn protection to them. But Shaul had sought to strike them in his Ador for the children of Yashrael and Yehudah. So Dod said to the Gibeonites, what should I do for you? And with what do I make atonement so that you Baruch the inheritance of Yahu'ah? And the Gibeonites said to him, it is no matter of silver or gold between us and Shaul or his house. Neither is it for us to put to death any man in Yashrael. And he said, whatever you say, I do for you. And they said to the sovereign, the man who consumed us and plotted against us, that we should be destroyed from remaining in all the border of Yashrael, let it 7 men of his sons be given to us, and we shall hang them before Yahu'ah in Gabah of Shaul, whom Yahu'ah chose. And the sovereign said, I give them. But the sovereign spared Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, son of Shaul, because of the oath of Yahu'ah that was between them, between Dod and Jonathan, son of Shaul. And the sovereign took the 2 sons of Rizpah and the daughter of Ayah, whom she bore to Shaul, Amari and the other Amisoseph, and 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Shaul, whom she brought up for Adrael, the son of Bazraeli, the Mahalohite, and gave them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them on the hill before Yahu'ah. So the 7 fell together and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days, in the beginning of the barley harvest. And Rizpah, the daughter of Ayahu, took sackcloth and spread it for herself on the rock. From the beginning of harvest until the late rains poured on them from the Shemayim. And she did not allow the birds of the Shemayim to rest on them by day, nor the beast of the field by night. And Dod was informed that Rizpah, the daughter of Ayahu, the concubine of Shaul, had done. And Dod went and took the bones of Shaul and the bones of Jonathan his son from the men of Yabesh Gilead, who had stolen them from the street of Beth Shan, where the Philistines had hung them up, after the Philistines had struck down Shaul in Gilboa. And he brought up the bones of Shaul and the bones of Jonathan his son from there, and they gathered the bones of those who had been hanged, and buried the bones of Shaul and Jonathan his son in the land of Benjamin in Selah, in the burial site of Kish his father, and did all that the sovereign commanded. And after that, Eluah heard prayer from the land. And the Philistines were again fighting against Yashrael, so Dod and his servants went with him down and fought against the Philistines, and Dod was weary. In Yushbo Banab, who was one of the sons of the giant, the weight of whose bronze spear was 300 pieces, who was bearing a new sword, spoke of striking Dod. But Abishai, son of Sirayahu, came to help him, and struck the Philistine and killed him. Then Dodd's men swore to him, saying, "Do not go out with us to battle any more, unless you put out the lamp of Yashrael." And it came to be afterward that there was a battle again with the Philistines at Gob. Then Shebekah the Hushathite struck Saph, who was one of the sons of the giant. And there was a battle with the Philistines again at Gob. Sorry. Where Elhanan, son of Yaariah, Orgarium the Bethlehemite, struck Goliath the Gittite, the shaft of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. Not Goliath, sorry, Goliath. And there was a battle in Gath again, where there was a man of great height, who had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in number. And he also was descended from the giants. And he reproached Yashrael, and Jonathan, son of Shimei, the brother of Dodd, struck him. These 4 were born to the giant in Gath, and they fell by the hand of Dodd and by the hand of his servants. Chapter 22. Then Dodd spoke to Yahu'ah the words of the song on the day when Yahu'ah had delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Shaul. And he said, "Yahuwah is my rock and my stronghold and my deliverer. My Yahuwah is my rock, I take refuge in him. My shield and my horn of my deliverance, my high tower and my refuge. My Savior, you save me from violence. I call on Yahuwah, the one to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. For the waves of death surrounded me, floods of Belial made me afraid. The cords of Sheol were all around me, the snares of death were before me. In my distress I called upon Yahuwah, and to my Yahuwah I cried. And from his hekel he heard my voice, and my cry was in his ears. And the earth shook and trembled, the foundations of the Shemains were troubled, because he was wroth. Smoke went up from his nostrils, and devouring fire from his mouth. Coals were kindled by it. And he bowed the Shemaim and came down, and thick darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and flew and was seen upon the wings of the wind. And he put darkness around him as booths, a darkness of waters, thick clouds. From the brightness before him, coals of fire were kindled. Yahuwah thundered from the Shemaims, and the Most High sent forth his voice. He sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning and confused them. And the channels of the sea were seen, the foundations of the world uncovered at the rebuke of Yahuwah, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils. He sent from above, he took me, he drew me out of waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, from those hating me, for they were stronger than I. They confronted me in the day of my calamity, but Yahuwah was my support. And he brought me out into a large place. He delivered me, he delighted in me. Yahuwah rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands he repaid me. For I have guarded the ways of Yahuwah, and have not acted wrongly against my Yahu'ah. For all his right rulings are before me. As for his laws, I do not turn from them. And I am perfected before him, and I guard myself from my crookedness. And Yahuwah repays me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness before his eyes. With a loving commitment, once you show yourself lovingly committed. With the perfect one, you show yourself perfect. With the clean, you show yourself clean, and with the crooked, you show yourself twisted. For you save the humble people, but your eyes are on the haughty to bring them low. For you are my lamp, O Yahuwah, and Yahuwah makes my darkness light. For with you I run against a bend, with my Yahuwah I leap over a wall. The his way is perfect. The word of Yahuwah is proven. He is a shield to all who take refuge in him. For who is El besides Yahuwah, and who is a rock besides our Yahuwah? El is my mighty stronghold, and he makes my way perfect, making my feet like feet of deer, and sets me on high places, teaching my hands for battle, so that my arms bend a bow of bronze. And you give me the shield of your deliverance, and your lowliness makes me great. You enlarge my step under me, so that my feet shall not slip. I pursue my enemies and destroy them, and I do not turn back till they are destroyed. And I destroy them and crush them, so that they do not rise and fall under my feet. And you gird me with strength for battle. You cause my adversaries to bow under me. And you make my enemies turn their backs, those hating me, and I cut them off. They look, but there is no Savior, unto Yahuwah, but he shall not answer them. And I beat them as dust of the earth, I beat them small as dirt in the streets. I spread them out, and you deliver me from the strivings of my people. You safeguard me as the head of the nations. A people I have not known serve me. Sons of the foreigner submit to me. As soon as they hear, they obey me. Sons of the foreigner fade away and gird themselves from their strongholds. Yahuwah lives, and blessed is my rock, and exalted is my Yahuwah, the rock of my deliverance. El, who avenges me, and bringing people down under me, and bringing me out from my enemies. You raise me up above those rising against me. You deliver me from a man of violence. Therefore I give you thanks to you, O Yahuwah, among nations, and I sing praises to your name. A tower of deliverance is he to his sovereign, in showing love and commitment to his anointed, to God and to his seed forever. Chapter 23. And these are the last words of Dod, the saying of Dod of Yishai, the saying of the man raised above, and anointed of Yahuwah and Jacob, and the sweet singer of Yisrael. The Spirit of Yahuwah has spoken through me, and his word is on my tongue. Then Yahuwah of Yisrael said, the rock of Yisrael spoke to me, one who rules over man righteously. Who rules in the fear of Yahuwah is like the light of the morning when the sun rises, a morning without clouds. tender grass from the earth, from sunshine, from rain. For is not my house so with Al? For he has made an everlasting covenant with me, ordered in all matters and guarded. For all my deliverance and all my desire, shall he not make it send forth a branch? But the worthless are all as thorns thrust away, for they are not taken with hands. But the man who touches them uses iron or the shaft of a spear, and with fire they are burned up in their place. These are the names of the mighty men whom God had: Yosheb, Bashebeth, the Tachimonite, chief among the officers. He was Adino the Esnite, for 800 slain at one time. And after him was Eleazar, son of Dodo the Ahonite, one of the three mighty men with God, when they taunted the Philistines, who were gathered there for battle, and the men of Yashrael had gone up. He arose and struck the Philistines until his hand was weary. But his hand clung to the sword, so Yahu'ah brought about a great deliverance that day. And the people returned after him only to plunder. And after him was Sema, son of Aish the Herite, and the Philistines had gathered into a company where there was a plot of ground covered with lentils, and the people fled from the Philistines. He took his stand in the middle of the field and delivered it, and struck the Philistines, and Yahu'ah wrought a great deliverance. And 3 of 30 chief men went down at harvest time and came to Dod at the cave of Adullam, while the army of the Philistines encamped in the valley of Rephaim. And Dod was then in the stronghold, while a watchpost of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. And Dod longed and said, "Oh, that someone would give me a drink of the water from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate." And the 3 mighty men broke through the camp of the Philistines and drew water from the well of Bethlehem, and that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to Dod. But he would not drink it, but poured it out to Yahu'ah. And he said, "Far be it from me, O Yahu'ah, to do this, the blood of the men who went at the risk of their lives." So he would not drink it. This is what the 3 mighty men did. And Abishai, the brother of Joab, son of Teriyahu, was chief of another 3. And he lifted his spear against 300 men, whom he slew. And he had a name among these 3. And he was not the most esteemed of 3, and he became their commander, but he did not come to the first 3. And Benayahu was the son of Yahu'ah, son of a brave man from Kebesael, great in deeds. He struck 2 lion-like men of Moab, and he went down and struck a lion in the midst of a pit on a snowy day. And he struck a Mistrian, an impressive man, and the Mistrian had a spear in his hand. So he went down to him with a staff, wrestled the spear out of the Mistrian's hand, and killed him with his own spear. This is what Benayahu, son of Yehoiada, did, and had a name among 3 mighty men. He was more esteemed than the 30, but he did not come to the first 3. And Dod set him over his guard. Ashael, the brother of Joab, was one of 30. Elhanan, son of Dodo of Bethlehem. Shammah the Haradite, Eliqua the Haradite, Helitz the Pelite, Era, son of Ikesh the Tequite, Abizar the Anahithalite, Mabahunai the Hushalite, Solomon the Alahite, Mahari the Netophalite, Helab son of Bahana the Netophalite, Ittai son of Reba from Geba of the children of Benjamin, Beniyahu the Parathonite, Hiddai from the Wadi of Gaash, Abi Abon the Abrathite, Asmoeth the Baramite, Albayah the Shalbanite of the sons of Yashin, Jonathan, Shammah the Harite, Iam son of Shahar the Harite, Elphalet son of Abishai son of the Ma'akanite, Eliam son of Ahithophel the Gilonite, Hetcherai the Carmelite, Parai the Abonite, Yagal son of Nathan of Sabah, Bani the Gadite, Salik the Ammonite, Nabari the Barathite, armor bearer of Joab son of Sharu-Yahu, Ira the Yithrite, Gareb the Yithrite, and Uri the Hittite, 37 in all. Chapter 24. And again the displeasure of Yahu'ah burned against Yashrael, and moved God against them to say, Go number Yashrael and Yehudah. And the sovereign said to Joab, the commander of the army, who was with him, Go, please, throughout all the tribes of Yashrael, from Dan to Beersheba, and register the people, so that I know the number of the people. And Joab said to the sovereign, Even if Yahu'ah your Eluah does add to the people 100-fold more than there are, in the eyes of the master the sovereign see it, but why does my master the sovereign delight in this matter? However, the sovereign's words was strong towards Joab and against the commanders of the army. And Joab and the commanders of the army went out from the presence of the sovereign to register the people of Yashrael. And they passed over the Yarden and camped in Aror on the right side of the town, which was in the midst of the Wadi of Gad, in toward Yazir. And they came to Gilead, and to the land of Tahitim Hadishi, and they came to Dan Ya'an, and around Sidon. And they came to the stronghold of Seor, and all the cities of the Hivites and the Canaanites, and went out to south Yehudah as far as Beersheba. And when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 new months and 24 days. And Joab gave the number of the registration of the people to the sovereign, and there were in Yashrael 800,000 brave men who drew the sword, and the men of Yehudah were 500,000 men. And the heart of Dod struck him after he had numbered the people. And Dod said to Yahu'ah, I have sinned greatly in what I have done. By now I pray, O Yahu'ah, take away the crookedness of your servant, for I have done very foolishly. And Dod rose up in the morning, and the word of Yahu'ah came to the prophet Gad, Dod's seer, saying, Go, and you shall speak to Dod. Thus said Yahu'ah, I hold 3 options before you. Choose one of them, and I do it to you. Gad then came to Dod, then came to Dod and informed him, and he said to him, Should 7 years of scarcity of food come to you in your land, or would you flee 3 new months before your enemies, while they pursue you? Or should there be 3 days' plague in your land? Now know and see what answer I take back to him who sent me. And Dod said to Gad, I am in great trouble. Please let us fall into the hand of Yahu'ah, for his compassion is great, but do not let me fall into the hand of man. And Yahu'ah sent a plague upon Yashrael from the morning to the appointed time. And from Dan to Beersheba 70,000 men of the people died. And the messenger stretched out his hand over Jerusalem to destroy it. And Yahuwah relented concerning the evil, and said to the messenger who was destroying the people, It is enough, now stop your hand. And the messenger of Yahuwah was by the threshing floor of Yahu'ah the Yeshubite. And Dod spoke to Yahuwah when he saw the messenger who was striking the people, and said, See, I have sinned, and I have done perversely. But these sheep, what have they done? Let your hand, I pray, be against me and against my father's house. And Gad came that day to Dod, and said to him, Go up, raise a slaughter place to Yahuwah on the threshing floor of Yahu'ah the Yeshubite. And Dod, according to the word of Gad, went up as Yahuwah commanded. And Anoah looked and saw the sovereign and his servants coming toward them. And Anoah went out and bowed before the sovereign with his face to the ground. And Anoah said, Why is my master the sovereign come to his servant? And Dod said, To buy the threshing floor from you, to build a slaughter place to Yahuwah, so that the plague be withdrawn from the people. And Araunah said to Dod, Let my master the sovereign take and offer that which seems good to him. Here are cattle for the sending offerings, the threshing implements, and the yokes of the cattle for wood. All these, O sovereign, Araunah has given to the sovereign. And Araunah said to the sovereign, Yahuwah your Eluah accept you. And the sovereign said to Araunah, No, let me buy it from you for a price. For certain, I am not offering ascending offerings to Yahuwah my Eluah without cost. So Dod bought the threshing floor and the cattle for 50 shekels of silver. And Dod built a slaughter place to Yahuwah there, and offered ascending offerings and peace offerings, and Yahuwah answered the prayers for the land, and the plague was withdrawn from Yashrael.